Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, Adam, and taking some time out of your day. And I'd love to hear more about you and why you launched Brandsmiths.
Yeah, so I've been a lawyer for 25 years, and the first 15 years I spent at big firms, had all the amazing things that big firms had to offer, great training, and I saw how law really worked. And then I got to a stage in my career where I felt that instead of trying to change an existing firm and trying to, ultimately correct or make different the things I didn't think were so desirable, I decided to start on my own.
Amazing. And when you kind of were getting to that point where you were thinking, I want to go out on my own, I want to start my own company, what were the kind of first things that you did to start that process?
Yeah, now I look back on it and I see other people starting their own firms and they have a mission, a vision, a business plan, investment. I had none of those things actually. I just effectively walked out the door and used someone else's law license to continue practicing the same law with my clients. So at the beginning, I'd love to tell you a different story that I had this big plan to make this amazing business. I didn't. I just really wanted to work for myself,
Yeah.
undertake the work for my clients in an environment that I could control. Because
Yeah.
that was the major thing for me. I thought lawyers generally love doing their job, but the environments of law firms, the things that go with that, the politics, etc., aren't necessarily the best environments for them to thrive. So if there was anything that drove me, it was that to create a more kind of, I don't know, neutral, cleaner environment. Now, I think it's kind of impossible to create a law firm and not have some level of politics in it. I think that's just
Any business really,
it's
there's
not
always,
yeah.
yeah.
Then you think about lawyers, they're all people who have got 10 out of 10 in class, very clever, high achievers, top of their year. And then when you bring all those people together, bring 30, 40, 50 of those people together and expect there to not be any politics between them is quite naive. So, but I just wanted a cleaner environment for those lawyers to be in.
Amazing. And, when you, similar actually to myself, I think that when I look back at the first business plan I put together for my business, I laughed at it the other day because I couldn't believe that I actually raised money from because you could just tear it up now. I think that you just got to get something down and go, but
Yeah.
actually it's getting started. I think is the message that you just said there.
I
That
agree with you. I think you've got to get started. Sometimes, I've seen this in law. People are in their current jobs and they dream of doing something else.
yeah,
So they'll come up with an idea, they'll write it down, they'll tell their friends, and when they tell their friends, they'll get some degree of satisfaction about it because it's dreaming, isn't it?
yeah,
It's dreaming, and it's nice to dream and to have that fantasy, and then you go back to your real job that you don't like. And I think personally, I would say don't tell your friends, don't tell your family, keep it to yourself and do it.
yeah.
Because I think the minute you start telling people about it, you kind of let it out of the cage. Just, tell maybe a few close friends, but I've encountered a lot of people who have told loads and loads of people about their great business. But did they ever want to really start it and go through what you need to go through
Yeah,
to do it? I think personally, I'd keep it to myself.
yeah. And I think it's interesting what you said about what you need to go through, because I think entrepreneurship and launching business can be quite glorified and glamorous,
Yeah.
particularly in the society that we're in today and era of social media. What's been the kind of biggest challenge that you faced in launching the company, and how have you kind of kept yourself going to grow to the size you are today?
Yes, I was a sole founder, started on my own, and still to this day control the equity in the business.
Yeah.
And only now am I really thinking of taking on, uh, investment partners. I have partners in the law firm, but I'm a sole equity founder. So yeah, I think that it's challenging. Every day is really challenging. It's not. I think you realise when you set up a business and you compare it to being employed, you get your wages on time and you know what you've got to do for your job. And there's a beauty, there's a simplicity in that.
Yeah.
And I would say to anyone thinking of starting a business, don't underestimate how simple your life is right now. If you're going to start a business, you need to really think about why you're doing it.
Yeah.
What are you doing it for? Because it is fraught with challenges from everywhere, right? I mean, number one, you've got to meet the payroll every month
Yeah.
and you want your business to get bigger. You've got to make sure your cash gets better. So cash collection is huge and it's what no one talks about. I speak to so many founders who um, are really interested in raising investment
Yeah.
and their whole focus is running around town raising investment. I've got 5 million valuation, 10 million valuation, 20 million valuation. And that's fine. It's a bit of a art form raising money because it's about persuading people of your dream.
Yeah.
It's a completely different art form from running your business,
Yeah.
which has to be about making profit
Yeah.
at some point. But I think a lot of founders now are like focusing on raising money and telling their investment story, which is we don't have to make any profit.
Yeah.
You know, Pinterest didn't make a profit for 7 years, Instagram didn't make a profit for 10 years. And I think personally, it's not the right way to go about it. I think there are some big tech businesses where that's relevant,
Yeah.
but I think you've got to focus on making profit as soon as possible and getting cash in and paying your employees. I mean, this business, as a law firm, we get, attacked all the time by different people. I've had people make complaints about us. You get reported to places. People try and sue you. We've been sued many, many times.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a very strong vision to be like, I did this. I want to keep on this path. Because if you're not committed at the start, you'll get blown off course
Yeah.
very
And you've
easily.
got to be resilient.
You've got to be looking at, you've got to be ready to start the month and be like, I need to collect 5, 6, 700,000 pounds this month
Yeah.
just to pay the wages, just to keep it going,
Yeah.
and not be overawed by that,
Yeah.
and say if you want to grow a big business, you have to be able to deal with this, and you have to be able to compartmentalize it, because you've also, in addition to finding all the money, you've got to do your job.
Yeah.
And your job as a CEO is to go around, inspire other people, get the best out of them, get the best out of your business, be strategic, think about it. And you can't do that if you're like a nervous wreck worrying where the next pound's coming from.
Yeah.
So that's the real challenge,
Yeah.
is juggling the pressure and turning up and being like, if you're a CEO of a big company and you're getting paid millions of pounds a year, you can focus on your job completely. I
Yeah.
think it's the job of the CEO to make sure that everyone else can focus on their job. So you don't want to put your worries onto other people. Like, I don't think it is the right career choice for someone to become an entrepreneur if they're used to having issues and having to put those issues onto other people. Because you might have problems with your business, but if you tell your leadership team, I've got all these major problems, they might lose confidence in you. You've got to be able to have the tools to deal with it yourself.
And compartmentalize it, as you said. And Brandsmiths is such a great name for a lot of the work that you do. When you kind of, obviously you said you didn't have a business plan, but you had the kind of core expertise that you had. How did you work out the different kind of sections of the company that you were going to build out, or teams?
Yes, I started off just doing what I did when I left Mishcons, which was acting for big brands,
Yeah.
doing litigation for big brands. That's how I started off. And I thought that name because Smith means, like goldsmith means someone who works with gold and is a relatively normal person.
Yeah.
That's what we came up with Brandsmiths. I think it used to belong to a design agency actually, who unfortunately went bust, and we bought the trademark off them.
Okay.
And a lot of people over the years have actually, at the beginning of before we got well known, people thought we were a design agency when
Right.
they heard our name.
Yeah.
But as to how the business formed, yeah, for the first few years, it was just what I did at my old firm.
Yeah.
And then your clients, if they move into another area, you learn about that other area. I
Yeah.
remember speaking to the founder of a really big law firm who told me he had zero plan and he just had a bunch of clients. And whatever his clients branched into, he learned about it. So
Amazing.
they were aviation finance experts. And I said to him, how did you get into aviation finance? He said, oh, no idea. Just one of our clients went in there, so I learned about it. So I personally think that's the wrong way to grow a business.
Yeah.
Like if I did this again, I'd say, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is where we're spending our money. This is who we're going to bring in.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years to say, okay, actually, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we shouldn't do this. We just grew like very organically,
Yeah.
but without strategic thought.
And a lot of your colleagues and teammates have sat down and spoken about this kind of rapid growth that they've seen and how the company's changed, which is super exciting. How do you hold together those original kind of principles that you put in the business as you're scaling so rapidly?
It's a really good question. It's a hard thing to hold your original principles and scale. I think that
Yeah.
is challenging, especially if you bring in external money. I haven't brought in external money, so I can effectively hold my principles to me and that they're important to me,
Yeah.
and there aren't any external shareholders going, we need to make more profit, we need to do this. I think you've got to grow your business how you want it without external pressure for a period of time
Yeah.
before you're let off the leash. Otherwise, you won't be able to create the base
Yeah.
enough. That's the key. So we are growing really rapidly. I think the key is hiring the right people. And I think for all businesses, all founders growing, when you start off, the people you hire will be people who themselves want to take a big risk,
Yeah.
because you're two, three, four people, they want to take a big risk. And then, especially in law, right? Because lawyers tend to be quite risk averse. And as you go up and up and up, as you get more secure, you'll get more normal people.
Yeah.
So people will want to join your business who could have joined a big name. And what you've really got to do is grow your business to a level where you can be uh, solid and secure and attract people who could join your business or a big business.
Yeah.
And that's not easy, but you've got to get the right people. And the trouble is, if you're going to start with a bunch of people who are really kind of enthusiastic and accept risk,
Yeah.
but it's unlikely those people are going to be the right people for you to.
Continue on the journey with.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's something you hope they are at the beginning. I still have three people that were with no, three, four people that were with me effectively
Right
on
from the beginning.
day one, whatever,
Yeah.
day 30.
Amazing.
I still have them here. But yeah, we've changed a lot. Like in the last year, I think there's a real focus. You want to talk about excellence. I think this is a good a good topic. If you want to talk about excellence and you really expect excellence from your staff, then it's hard but not impossible to marry that up with a culture, a really lovely culture.
Yeah.
Because if you really want excellence, if people aren't performing, you have to move them on.
Yeah.
And that might not be compatible with a culture of we're all friends.
Yeah.
You have to, and it definitely can, you can get it to work. Everyone needs to have honest conversations with each other and say, I really like you, but this part isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And we've now, our rapid growth occurred when we moved into 4 departments and we had departmental heads.
Okay.
And now those 4 people are looking at their people and I'm saying to them, if you're coming to me and saying, oh, this isn't working, you need to look at your people.
Yeah.
So we had relatively big turnover of staff in the last year, but we've brought in fantastic people because the people we can attract now
Are very different from
are
what
at the
you.
top level. We're one of the probably top 4, top 5 firms in our space. And
Yeah.
those other people are turning over hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
And we sit alongside them. So we can take people from the very, very top who believe in our principles, want to do what we want to do, which might mean that the person who joined you at the beginning, you want to be loyal to them, but they
Yeah.
may not be the standard you can get now. It's one of the hardest
Yeah.
decisions you're going to have to make, actually, if you're successful in your business. There are amazing people out there, and you have to look at your own staff and say, maybe I can get better.
And that's a really tough thing. And you've also expanded beyond to initially you started in London, now you've opened a Manchester office. How have you found, what was the natural progression, first of all, to launching in Manchester? And then how have you found that journey to, opening up in another city and starting another space?
Yeah, look, we started Manchester early. We started Manchester really early. It was very opportunistic. There was a guy who used to work with one of the guys I employed who wanted to open an office in Manchester. So we've grown London and Manchester. London's been a bit ahead of Manchester, but we've grown them almost simultaneously. I think there is a challenge in having 2 offices, and the big challenge is getting them to work together really well
Yeah.
and making it feel seamless. We have lots of people up and down on trains, but I wish we had one office. That
Yeah.
would be the best thing ever. If we had one office with everyone in it, it would be amazing.
Okay, so we've asked everyone this question today. So talking about all the companies, all the people you've worked with, um, what trait do you think the founders and the business owners that you're working with, or the brands, have? What trait do they have which makes them so successful?
I think they have probably 2, 3 things. The business owners and the brands that have been most successful. I think number one, they have high levels of discipline within themselves and within their businesses to perform the right things every day. They start off, they know what they've got to do, and they do them. And things that occur on the way don't put them off.
Yeah.
And number two is similar, but they have high levels of resilience. So I think discipline and resilience are two very big character traits that people need in order to achieve things. I also think the really outstanding ones have creativity. Like a lot of creativity, they're able to think of new ideas. You know, when you go down a dead end and things are difficult, they can come up with an idea and say, let's do this. I think that is like,
Being able to pivot and
yeah, I think that's like the real genuine, people talk about talent, like, especially with AI coming.
yeah.
With AI coming, the classic ability of a lawyer, a good lawyer being someone who can recollect information. Oh, I remember this case from 1969. And then this is like, you don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
So that ability to recollect information isn't going to be what gets you
Yeah.
further. It's the ability to think in a way that maybe the computer can't think of.
Yeah.
And maybe I've given you four actually, you asked for two, but I think the fourth one is the ability to deal with people
Yeah.
and understand that people are different. I think I was talking to someone the other day who was telling me that they think as leaders continue, they become less empathic because they've done it all themselves and they think you should just be able to get on with it. I've gone through hard times. This isn't that difficult.
Yeah.
And I think that may or may not be true, but I think your ability to influence how your people are and what they do, and people are complicated.
Yeah.
I think you could be really, really good with people.
So we've spoken a lot about how hard, how disciplined you've got to be, how challenging running a business can be, and how all-consuming. What do you do when you're not working that helps you stay on top of your game, and keeps you sharp and creative personally outside of work?
I cycle a lot.
Yeah.
I cycle a lot. I like cycling. I used to cycle every day,
Okay.
but I like cycling in particular because, yeah, it keeps you fit and healthy. But I think it's really important to be able to do something which occupies your mind.
Yeah.
So your mind's fully occupied, whatever you're doing. So you stop a certain kind of day-to-day thinking,
Yeah.
and then you have more creative thinking. Like a lot of people say they go out and walk their dog, they have their best ideas, or they go and do something. I think that's a really good idea to build into your life some time when you're not in front of a screen, you're not having, I don't know how you'd classify it, like kind of short-term thoughts.
You're really able to think.
You're really able to think. Like if you commute, people used to do this on their commute into work on a train. But if you get on a train and you commute, everyone's glued to their phones. Understandably, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I think the only way to not do it is if I'm on my bike, you're worried about getting run over. You're completely focused on the near term,
Yeah.
and that frees your brain up, I think, to have better, more
Naturally.
creative thoughts.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought of Brandsmiths on my bike.
Really?
Yeah, I did think of Brandsmiths on my bike. All my best thoughts have come on my bike. So yeah, cycling.
And who inspires you?
I don't know. I like to hear stories about people who have gone through like um, tough times and come out the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the name of that guy? I like that guy, David Goggins. Do you know him? He was like an overweight guy who lost lots of weight and then he became a Navy SEAL and he runs like 200 miles and his legs are broken.
Oh my God.
And I think he's not to everyone's taste. He's a bit like, hey, bitch, do this. He's a bit like that.
Yeah. But he's inspiring you. He's inspiring you every day.
Yeah, I do. I get inspired by that. I get inspired by the fact that he takes responsibility for himself.
Yeah.
On days when you're feeling sorry for yourself about things,
Yeah.
I think as a founder, you've got to realize that it's on you and you've got to sort it out.
Yeah.
And you can sort it out and stop moaning and being a bitch and just get on and do it.
Yeah. Perfect. On that note, thank you so much. Keeping it real. We're getting you on season 3 of the podcast. Thank you so much.